Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Ugh. I love being hot. Mo- Nice day here, dude. What's up, Praetor? It's nice here too. It's nice here too. Getting paint. Getting blue paint everywhere. So, had to go do some other stuff, but we're back. What's going on, everybody? How's your Sunday? I mean, what? Saturday. We're feeling good. It's like, I don't like this color that I just made, but I'm gonna be consistent with it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna at least be like, all right, well, let me just take that color across, create some definite edges, and then just water feather it away. And then we'll just cover it up later with another layer. Because there's gonna be a few more layers of paint. Water. I like to water the paint down a lot and move it around. and then let it dry, and then hit it again, and then again. It's more of a, I don't know if you guys know what sublimation printing is, but that's what this feels like when I'm doing it this way. It's kind of style they want. I mean, it's gonna be more soaked into the canvas, so it's just like wet paint, let it dry, wet paint, let it dry. So it's just kind of like soaking into the canvas. So the canvas is gonna still be light. It won't be like a giant sheet of plastic, you know. I mean, there's gonna be some plasticking to it, you know, because it's, you know, latex, but keep that to a minimum. What else? My mom is going to be visiting tomorrow. That's cool. It's good to see my mom. It's like blues on blues, textures, textures, and then we'll do the logos. All right, let's say, what's going on, John? The chat's right there. The link is right there, buddy. Link is right there if you want to talk to me about that Watcher character. That'd be cool. Why is it? Oh, there we go. Hey, man, this is my other garage. So I got, you know, two garages. And this is my upper garage where I got this wall. So I have this wall built here. And then I put the canvas over it. Ah, check your hair.
Oh, does every member of your family have their own garage? That would be awesome. This is my wife's garage. This is my kid's garage. This is my sister-in-law's garage. Now you make me small. Let the art be the focus.
It's not really art yet.
No, it's as soon as you set up an easel, it's art. You know, it's just what stage of the art is it? That is cool. I like, as a guy who can't do anything art wise, I like seeing the process. There you go. That's good. So what is it? You have a garage like on the second story? What were you saying? You have the upper garage?
Yeah, because the house is on a little bit of a hill.
Oh,
so there's a garage here, and then you do the little driveway, and then there's another garage lower down. So I got the 2-car garage here. You go around the corner, and then there's another garage.
Man, how many bedrooms are in your house?
7.
Holy mackerel, man! We had 10 people growing up living in it was originally a 3-bedroom house, and then my father dormered it. So, oh my God, that's nice. And I guess
I'm not texting. I'm checking the image.
No, do whatever you want.
Just FYI.
Yeah. Prater saying in the chat, you get a garage and you get a garage. Oh man, it's just me and my wife in a 3-bedroom house now, and a garage and a basement, and I already feel like we've outgrown it. A 7.
Yeah, I mean, we like bought the place, and then it was like, all right, let's start filling it with.
Oh, you will, yeah.
With little people, you know what I mean. Each room, you know, there was a reason why we got all the bedrooms.
It's amazing. When my wife and I had a 1-bedroom apartment, when we moved, we rented a full moving truck, and it was packed to the gills. Like the moving people were wondering how they would. One bedroom truck. You know how big a trailer is. We filled it. Just shows you how much shit we accumulated. I feel Matt might be, Matt might be the richest artist. Yeah, I want to see what other people that busting the chops. I want to see how they live. So
it's like, oh, Matt Barr, you're a fucking nobody. It's like, I mean, for a nobody, I guess I'm okay. You know, it's like
I'm nobody too, but you know what I mean. But I don't have a 7-bedroom house with like a garage for every.
Oh hell. I know I'm guesstimating what you probably pay for your house in New York, and you could probably afford this in Georgia.
Not even, you're not even joking.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you came to Georgia, you'd be like, oh yeah, I could like move into your neighborhood, you know?
Oh, my brother bought his house for $14,000 in the 90s. And it was a tiny little house in Nassau County, right by the water. And he raised his 3 daughters in the house. You know, my brother's, as much as I'm good with tools, my brother could do anything with tools. He fixed it up. He made it really nice. He sold it like $600,000, and it's
wow.
It's still my voice cracked. It's still a small house. It just shows you how insane it's gotten. And he went and bought a house up in Connecticut, like where there's bears in Connecticut, not like down south by the city. But my brother bought a house that is, I'm no joke, a mansion. He's got an unfinished space on the second floor that has more square footage than my house now. And he's like, I don't know what to do with it. He's got a garage that is as big as my house. It looks like Santa's workshop. You know, it's got every freaking tool, its own refrigerator. It looks like if you were to turn on like a Santa Claus movie. And
wow,
we make the toys. It is gorgeous. And then above the garage, it's just an empty space. I'm like, you could rent this out. He goes, why do I want strangers in my house? He goes, I took the money from that I sold my house. This house is paid off, John. We were down in the basement. Oh my God. He's like, okay, and this room is where we're going to put this. This room is, and then we turn the corner and there's like a whole other. I'm like, oh my God, this basement goes on forever. Because I don't know what to do. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. He goes, yeah, as soon as you're done working, as soon as you retire, get the F out of New York and you can afford
it. Dude.
Yeah.
When you like go into my office, you remember Get Smart?
Yeah.
The beginning of Get Smart when you like went through all these like different doors. That's what it's like to get to my office. Like it's like, okay, go upstairs, go through the bedroom door, go through the other door. Okay, go through the main, through another room. Okay, then go into the office. Like it's just like the rooms just keep going in every direction. I love it here.
I moved during the height of the lockdown because after 6 months of you can't work, you can't leave your house, you can't fart, you can't do this. I was like, we got to get out of the city because once everybody starts scavenging and rioting, I was like, I can't deal with this. So I there's no sidewalks out here. There's no sewers. It's a tiny little house. I paid $310,000 for this house, which sounds like a lot, but New York, it's dirt cheap. I got 2.2 on the mortgage because nobody was moving. Nobody was doing anything. It turns out like 6 months later, you would have gotten screwed. So I just managed to get while the getting was good. Already, Zwillow is putting my house at like 500,000. I'm getting calls. Do you want to sell your house?
Yeah.
I'm like, call me back in 2 to 3 more years when I retire. I'll move next door to Matt Bauer. I saw you sitting out at the fire pit drinking a beer. That looks awesome,
dude. And I have like one of the smaller places in my neighborhood. The guy down the road. It's like 10 acres, then another like 15, and at the very end of the road, it's like a 20-acre property with like horses and goats and stuff.
Yeah, I don't want a big property. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm happy, like my wife wants to move to Alaska. That's how much she wants to be away from people.
Oh man.
I would do
extreme.
But I like people, you know what I mean? My wife likes people too, but she's shy.
I like people too, and that's what the great thing about the internet is. Like I don't have to leave my house or.
That's what I said.
It's like, oh, I can like meet people. It's like YouTube is like hanging out at the comic book shop. on a good day.
Yeah, I saw online that Japan, the population of Japan is shrinking so bad that there's literal just houses for sale for like $3,000.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was saying to my wife, I go, what is stop? I said, I'll just take my tax returns, buy a house in Japan, and then I go on furlough for like 6 to 10 weeks a year. I said, I'll take it all at one shot. They're always trying to get us to take our furlough all at once. So I said, I'll take it all at once, go to Japan, work on this house, and it's paid off. I said, honey, and then when I retire, you work from home. We'll just go to Japan. It's there's no crime. The people are nice. I'll learn Japanese. The hospitals are good. And say I sell this house for $600,000. We pay off what little debts we have. We're done. We're set for life.
Dude, I would totally try to capitalize on that.
Yeah,
like, hey, I'm an American in Japan making comics, and like I would fucking film it and like have it all like content. You know what I mean? Like an American in London making manga. American in Tokyo.
That's funny. Henry Bemis, I'll read the comments to you. He says, the only problem with moving to Japan is I can never be a citizen. You're absolutely right. The thing is, my wife's Canadian. She's not a citizen in America. So what's the difference if she's not a citizen in Japan? I don't care, because like,
I don't want to go over there and like take over. I would be like the quiet American who kept his hands down and like wouldn't trash the place. You know what I mean? Like
Johnny Somali going around graffiti.
No. I want to go there for a couple of years, maybe, like 2 years, and then come home, just kind of get away from America for a second. I don't know. I mean, I love America. I love my country, but I don't know. I went to Europe and I was kind of like, okay, I get it. Like, I was seeing the same alphabet and shit, but like in Japan, that shit's completely alien.
The only thing is I could see Japan not wanting me because they're like, oh, you got to come over. You're already 60 years old. You just want to become like a burden on our medical system or something, But who knows?
They'd probably be like, how much money do you have in the bank, and like, what's your health issues? Do you have any health issues? No. Okay, cool.
The other is Iceland. My wife and I fell in love with Iceland. I don't care if it's dark. Just turn on YouTube. It's light in my basement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Japan. Like I'll still talk to you. I'll still talk to all the YouTube guys. Still, I'll have a weird schedule compared to the Japanese because I'm streaming, at American times. But why not? But
I think it would be cool.
But now,
like not in the city. You know what I mean? I would want to like.
Yeah, these houses are out in the middle.
I'd want to be chilling. Yeah, and like the suburbs are in the
as far as I know, these are probably like real rural areas of Japan.
Yeah, like some fucking Totoro shit, dude.
Yeah.
You kidding? Yeah. If I told my kids I was like, hey, we bought a house that looks like the Totoro house, they'd fucking lose their minds, dude.
Yeah.
They would love it.
Yeah, like Prater says, the other day in the news, they were covering a village in Japan just had its first baby in 20 years because a young couple moved there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen footage of people in Japan where they're all like looking at babies and shit like they're magic animals. They're like, look at this. Look at this fucking unicorn. They're all just like eyeballing this thing. Like, what?
I'm going to sound like a weeb, but I don't watch anime and I barely read manga, but I'm fascinated with the culture of Japan because I'm kind of like comparing like a country that is all basically one ethnic group, as opposed to like say America, which is just we're like.
Is that why you mentioned Iceland as well? Like you're just like seeing what a homogenized country looks like or acts or like does.
In Iceland, people just leave their bicycle right in front of the house. I mean, right in front of the store. They go in. There's no crime. Like all of these single ethnic groups, countries, there's like no crime. They're pleasant places to live. Plus, Iceland is like you're living in a Thomas Kincaid village. It's because the electricity is basically free because of all the volcanic activity. So everybody's houses are lit up like little Christmas fireflies. It's really, really beautiful. When we went there in December, so it was all lit up for Christmas. You get like misty eyed, like wow, it's like I live in fairy tale land. I expect Odin to come walking out and having his reindeers and stuff.
Fucking Bjork comes out and says
hello. Yeah, Bjork comes out and screams in my face.
Hello. I thought I would make a sound for you for
But
your visit.
man, but Japan. The thing I'm fascinated with Japan is the hikikomori. Do you know what that is?
What is that?
Japan has a real bad problem with they said 10 million kids, boys and girls, they just never leave their bedroom. And the parents just take care of them. They feed them. They only leave to go to the bathroom. God, some of them probably just poop.
What?
But they literally stay in and the parents are so ashamed of them that they never entertain guests. They basically tell people their kid died.
Oh shit.
And the kid just lives, he just watches TV, eats, and just can't deal with the outside world. They say there's 10 million of these people, and now they call it the 80-50 problem, that there's 80-year-old parents taking care of 50-year-old kids who literally haven't been outside in 30 years. And when these parents start dying off, they're going to have these people, like, how are they going to deal with life? They don't have a savings account. They can't maintain the house or the apartment. They've never worked.
They better hurry up with them robots.
Yeah, they better hurry up. So, of course, me thinking like, this sounds like a great comic book idea. Now, think about this, Matt, for a horror comic. There's a website, a hikikomori like support group, and one of them is this. I'm either going full on normal or full on supernatural. So here's the supernatural idea: a vampire has like a human that is in his thrall, and he just like, okay, we'll take care of you, hikikomori. And the parents basically invite the vampires into their apartments to take care of the kid that nobody knows is alive anyway. So it's like free food, no crime. And then the parents like,
are there vampires in Japan?
Oh yeah, they got every culture has.
Or just the vampires show up like finding out like, hey,
yeah, well, they have their own unique
fucking
vampires. But just imagine like a regular Dracula vampire. They can't come in and be invited. They show up at the window. They knock. The parents, invite them in, and then they take care of their little. The other one is they hire hitmen, and the hitmen like do like John Wick. They come in and they clean up the room and paint and spackle and everything like that. And like, I don't know where my son is. I haven't seen him in 30 years.
Or what's the Edgar Allan Poe where the guy starts walling up the dude in the wall?
Casque of Amontillado.
Yeah, like what if like the parents start doing that? Like the parents, they can't do it, so they hire these people that come over and just start walling up, like they're a contractor. You know what I mean? And they come over and they just start walling up these people and like tiling it over and shit.
One of my Japanese friends, he lives in America and Japan. He says, you have the same problem in America, but you throw them out of the house. This is what we do with our homeless. And it really gave me a pause for a minute. Like, are the homeless people just the people that families couldn't deal with? And just go outside, Matt. Go outside, Matt, and live in front of a subway car and pee in front of people. Instead, the Japanese are more polite. They keep their crazy homeless family members inside and deny.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. That's something to like really explore, I think.
So I don't know. I just think that the hikikomori vampire.
I liked it. I think that's a great idea.
It's real dark.
I really would like to do a vampire story. That'd be dope if I could do it with that fucking eyeball character.
Oh yeah, the eyeball character. Yeah, that is called Big Brother.
Can he watch a short vampire story, like a 6-page vampire story?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, Big Brother is the conceit with the Big Brother is he was created for that comic Eddie is Doomed. I'm making a comic. I'll start at the beginning. I'm making a comic called Eddie is Doomed. And the premise of Eddie is Doomed is Eddie Pagano is a 35-year-old comic book collector. It's 1986. And his father is a retired police officer. You find out through the text that Eddie's mother and sister were killed in a car accident. So it's just Eddie and his dad living at home. Eddie's dad is now a retired cop. He's been a retired cop for like 2 years. And he says to Eddie, I'm getting old. I got too many memories. I'm retired. It's time for me to retire to Florida. All my friends are in Florida. Your uncles are in Florida. I'm going to Florida. So you got like 6 months to move out of the house. And Eddie is like, how can you do this to me, Dad? Eddie lived in the basement, collected comics. He's a good kid, but he just took the easy path in life his whole life. So Eddie's just furious that for the first time in his life he's inconvenienced, you know. And now he goes to the comic book store, he buys a copy, he finds out about this comic called Doomed Earth, and the premise of the comic is Top Comics is restarting its continuity, and the Doom Keeper is coming to Top Comics and blowing up all the continuity, and they're going to restart again. So it's Crisis on Infinite Earths. So he's just like, my real world is ending and my comic book world is ending, and Eddie is freaking out. So there you go. It's Love and Rockets meets Crisis on Infinite Earths. So the real world and the comic book world are both coming to an end for poor Eddie. And inside Doomed Earth is Big Brother. Now, Big Brother, you know, like Harbinger showed up in Crisis. She didn't exist before. She was just there to service the story. That's what Big Brother is. Big eyeball character that's...
Yeah, I like it, but is he not like the Watcher? He's like something
he's
else?
The Watcher.
Or he's like a storyteller, you know what I mean? Like he sees sees everything, and he like has stories.
He sees everything, and he sees you as you read the comic.
Yeah, you know? I like that.
So
it's like there's like an EC kind of a aspect to that.
Like
you know, the host. You know,
so I do have an idea for him. So right, like I have like 10 superhero characters within Eddie is Doomed. They're the top 10. Like I got Bikini Girl and Phenomenal Man and Captain Arachnid. You know, they're supposed to be like cheesy Silver Age DC characters. You know, I got a Golden Age version and I got a Silver Age version of them, and they're all interacting. They're all on the same planet at the same time. So the Golden Age Phenomenal Man seeing the Silver Age Phenomenal Man, and Eddie's like, what is going on? You know, he can't deal with this change. And then Big Brother is basically narrating the story. So I'm trying to make individual comics like pretending that they were Silver Age. So right now I got DC Miller doing the Golden Age Bikini Girl story. So these are the things I'd like to do. Like, yeah, you could do a Big Brother story, you know. And the thing about Big Brothers, we could do anything. We could do a vampire, but the thing is, it's supposed to be like Silver Age DC, so it's not going to be horror, you know. But I got surprises about Big Brother, because when that's
a cool character, man. I
took them all and I sent them to Oscar, and then Oscar, of course, made them good because he's a real artist, unlike me. But I love that. So Tonic Mole is drawing the real world, and Oscar's drawing the superhero world. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Garfield says, "Hey guys, pretty cool to see you on Thinking Critical, John. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I was. This was my second appearance on Thinking Critical, and I might be on in another 2 or 3 weeks."
Nice.
He's got a whole rotating panel of people that he like. It was fun. Yeah, there's a whole thing in Japan where you can hire people to be companions to you while you do things like shopping, ticket trade. Yes, when I was in college, I'm not joking, there was the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in the real world. Her name was Ko. Some Japanese long name, but everybody just called her Ko. And she was like unrealistically beautiful. Like you couldn't talk to her, you were intimidated. And her job was she worked at a cafe and she just talked to men. And me, as a 23-year-old college student, I couldn't comprehend that. I was like, you're a prostitute. You have sex with no man is just going to pay to talk to you. And she's like, no, in Japan, it's different. And I'm like, you can admit it. I'm not trying to judge you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But now I found out that was a real thing. But at the time, I could not accept that some businessman was going to pay money just to talk to this girl.
Just to talk to her, just to like sit there for a second and like talk to this chick.
Yeah, so she was a heavy drinker and she was a heavy smoker, because in order to do this job, you had to smoke with them and you had to drink with them. Oh man, she was that house was like the most beautiful. There was a super hot hippie blonde, a super hot redhead that was like a pre-med, so she was like a genius. It was like Charlie's Angels and the super Japanese girl. Oh man, I'll never forget too. They didn't like me. They didn't talk to me because I was a gun guy. Every Saturday, me and my friends would go off into the desert and go shooting our pistols and rifles. So only Ko talked to me, but the other two girls would avoid, like they would come over to invite my roommates to a party and like ask if, is Sean home? And then like right in front of me, invite Sean to a party. And I'm like, what? Because they're like, but you have guns. So, but the funny thing is one night I'm sitting there cooking chili in the kitchen, and Heidi, there was Heidi, Kara, and Ko. Heidi comes over, knocks on my door. I open up. There's somebody in the house. there's somebody in the house.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay. And I get my gun. And here's the thing. So my house, if you're looking at their house is in the middle. My house was on the left. Her boyfriend's house was on the right. Her boyfriend was the Reverend. That was his nickname. So I kick open the door and I'm going through the house like Mr. SWAT guy with the gun. And it turns out there was a raccoon that made it through the window in the basement. So we chased the raccoon out. And then I just go, hey, Heidi, I live next door to you. Your Reverend lives next door. How come you didn't get him? And she goes, what was he going to do? I was like, exactly. I said, I'm taking you shooting with me tomorrow. And she's like, okay. And that she has a full carry permit. I don't even have a full carry permit. I converted a hippie girl into a gun girl. She sent me pictures of herself shooting. She's like, thanks, John. This is the best hobby.
Yeah, she should know. Girls should know how to shoot.
Right. But her face when I said, okay, Heidi, how come you called me and not the Reverend? And it dawned on her. Yeah. What was he going to do? It's like, yeah, you call him for booty call, you call me for protection. Who's the idiot over here? I've seen that you can also fire fat people. Yes, you can. You can get my friend Yoshi, the one who lives in Japan. He says you can go and literally get a job as a fat American in Japan.
What?
Every company, he says, same thing with China, is that they want a fat American. He's like, you don't even have to work. You just have to go to the meetings. You have to learn.
Just so they can like point and laugh at you?
Not point and laugh at you. It's just like a prestige thing. We have a fat American on staff. You answer questions and, maybe they'll give you some token work to do, but you could have like a lifelong career as a fat American.
Weird.
I could do that.
That's sad. Maybe after you retire, you know what I mean? But it's like, and you're already like fat, but if you're not fat and you like got shit to do.
I want to go to Japan because apparently they hire like old American men with beards to be Santa Claus during Christmas.
Oh yeah, see, there you go.
I'll go to Japan, be the Christmas guy. Just get a paid vacation to Japan every year. Just be Father Christmas. Henry Beamer says one of my brother's girlfriends growing up was half Japanese, half Norwegian. Oh my God, Henry! When I was in college, I had a girlfriend that lived in why can't I think Oneonta? So I used to go up and visit her, and one of her roommates was a half Irish, half Japanese. So just imagine she looked like the Lana Lang from Smallville. Super tall, like long hair, like Linda Carter, because this was the late 80s, but she had green eyes. Oh my God, Matt, she was devastated.
Dude, fucking some of the best combos I've seen were in New York. Just like
Manhattan,
New York City. Yeah, man. Just
as disgusting as Manhattan is, and it is disgusting, ladies and gentlemen, there's still the most beautiful women walking around Manhattan. I don't know what it is. They think it's prestigious or whatever, and there's in Manhattan, like on the subway, you're like, that girl is ridiculous,
Yeah, and it's like, and then you start talking to them, and it's like, oh yeah, she's like Irish Japanese.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean, or like Jamaican.
Yeah, she's
and
Siberian.
Dutch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like, oh my God, you're like they're like winning the genetic lottos, dude.
I met a girl in a bar. She was Cuban and either Japanese or Chinese. I forget which, but it was just she looked like somebody created her in a lab.
Yeah, dude. Little Asian chick with freckles. You know what I mean?
And red curly hair. She was hot. But I will say that the next hottest place I've ever been to was Montreal. So guys, go to Montreal. I don't talk to girls anymore. I'm 57 years old.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Like, no joke. Everybody looks like a baby to me. You could be 35 years old, and I'm afraid to talk to you that you might be like underage or something. You'll see.
I was on a stream the other day, and they had a 19-year-old girl on there, and I felt weird, dude. I was like, this chick is way too young to be streaming with, and they're like, she's of age. You know what I mean? It was
but it
was just like this. I felt gross. I was like, man, I don't want to stream with this chick.
we got an apprentice on the job. He's a 30-year-old guy, and I thought he was a teenager. He's like, dude, I'm 30. I'm like, well, you look young. Take it as a compliment. Yeah, Brazil has like Brazil has like a horrible history because Brazil was where they brought in a lot of slaves. Brazil had something like 10 times the amount of slaves that the United States because of all the jungles and everything. But so Brazil had the Irish slaves, they had the North African slaves, the South African slaves, and then even the Caribbean slaves were brought down. So like everybody's a mix down there, and then the Indians.
Yeah.
You go to a beach in Brazil, it's just my friend's dad was I forget what the hell he did. He did something for the environment, and he would go to Brazil every year. He goes every year in Brazil I get mugged, but every year in Brazil I go to the beach and it's worth it. Peru had an ethnic Japanese president. Wow, he was one of the most brutal presidents. Yeah, the Japanese don't play games.
Nah.
They have a 98 confession rate. When you get arrested by the Japanese police, Japan is extremely tolerant. They're extremely polite. But if you get arrested, the police will beat the shit out of you until you confess, guilty or not. Because they look at it like this. We are very tolerant. We'll let you get away with enough. But when we had enough, we're going to let you know that we had enough. And, they don't mollycoddle the prisoners. So do not commit crimes in Japan, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, dude, they're what, about 150 years from like seppuku and shit. It's like just a disgrace.
Yep.
Open your belly.
Yes, a large conclave of white Southerners who lost the Civil War moved down to Japan too. Yes, that's true. They brought their slaves with them too. Yeah, that is an interesting story.
To what? To Japan or down to Brazil?
In Brazil, Garfield's Bazaar. He said after the Civil War, a bunch of plantation owners moved to Brazil with their slaves. I think Brazil was like the last nation to officially get rid of slavery.
Wow.
Although thanks to Obama, it's been opened up again in Libya. Yeah, committing crimes in general is not a great idea. If you're going to commit crimes, do it in America.
Especially if you don't speak the language.
Right.
You don't speak the language.
I got in trouble in Canada in the airport, and I had words with this person who worked at the airport, and she called the cops on me. And I was just like, I literally asked this woman for information, and she was on the phone. She was arguing with somebody, and she goes, "Can't you see I'm on the phone?" Like she started screaming. I said, "Lady, hang up the phone. You're here to do a job." And because I was afraid of missing my flight, so I was pretty quick too. But she started out yelling, so she calls the cops, and and now I'm like, I don't know what the rules are in Canada. Like it's friendly Canada, but like, can I go to jail over this? Like I got a little nervous. So they actually called the regional director of Canadian Airlines, and she was like, "Can we let him fly?" And I said, "Do you really want a crazy New Yorker staying in Toronto any longer than I said, your best course of action is to let me get on that plane and never step foot in Canada again." And the cops were like nodding, like, "Yeah, I don't want to deal with this guy."
Yeah, that's good. Go.
So as far as I know, I probably have a ban on Canadian Air.
There's a photo of you in their office. Yep.
They're not that nice. Yeah, the Canadians have a chip on the shoulder about Americans.
I don't know why.
It's like, I don't know, little brother.
Not like we care about them.
Canada is not.
They got like really poopy pants when Trump was like, "Yo, how about you guys join up with? We just become another state." They were like, "Wow." That's funny.
I know. I wouldn't go there now. Not with their new leader.
Is their new leader
super lefty?
Super
lefty, yeah. To the point Alberta is actually filing papers of secession.
Wow.
Because Alberta is where all the oil is produced. But the thing is, Toronto and Vancouver, I think those two cities themselves, and I might be wrong, but Toronto and Vancouver are so populated, and the rest of Canada is so unpopulated that whatever those two cities vote for, the rest of the country goes with. You know, it's just imagine New York and San Francisco determine the national politics. So most of Canada is pretty conservative, but you got Toronto and Vancouver, two super liberal conclaves determining the politics of Canada. Yeah. Matt Barr is painting the flat Earth. Oh, you're painting the flat Earth?
Shit.
Oh, nice.
It's flat.
I'm going to start the triangular Earth theory. Why not? I'll be the only person to be pushing. Nah, Earth is.
I have an idea for like a flat Earth.
A flat Earth comic.
What's going on, Lord Nemesis? What's going on, Mr. St. Patrick, with your wrench? With your wrench. Yeah, I got an idea for flat Earth. I got an idea.
You mean like a comic book idea or a legitimate idea? Like you're going to sail a boat off at the edge or something?
Oh no, comic book idea. I think we're round as shit.
I'm teasing.
Yeah, I think we're round as fuck. You know, I like imagine like a giant expansion, like a ice, right? And there's little divots all over this thing. Like, you know, you look at a pegboard at an angle,
Yeah.
and you just see nothing but like these tiny like divots, these tiny holes, right? Are you visualizing that?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah.
So each one of those is a fucking hollow earth in my idea.
I'll give you a little spoiler. Have you seen The Public Eye, the eyeball character that's a private detective? That's one of the things he's investigating. You know, what are the elites doing? Are they keeping it a secret? You know.
Yeah.
So there's a big spoiler for his story.
Like I want to do like a kind of like a Farscape, like a Farscape kind of Star Wars story, but instead of them going to different planets, they're going to like different divots. Like they're going into like different, like they like go up over the ice shelf, like over the ice wall, and then they fly a little ways, and then they go down into another divot, and like each divot is like different.
Yeah, that's like Agartha.
You know, like one divot has like dinosaurs running it, another divot, you know, is this, another divot is, you know.
I was looked at. There's like a map on YouTube. If you look up Agartha, and that's like beyond the Antarctic ice. There's a whole other ocean that goes to another continent of Agartha. I love that kind of stuff.
I like that too. I like it. I like that too. It's just when I was like looking at it, I was like, that makes us too like, it's too Earth centric. You know, the map that I saw where it was like, but it's flat Earth, and then there's ice. There's like a ring of ice. And then there's water with islands, and then another ring of ice. And I was just like, well, what if it was just a bunch of like pockets? You know what I mean? Rather than like, you know, we're one pocket, but you know, you fly over and you can go into another pocket, another pocket, another pocket.
I like it.
Yeah.
In Tolkien, like the elves, they take the straight path to Valinor, so they take these boats and they sail. But the earth curves underneath the boats, and only they know the straight path that'll take them.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
They just fade away. That's the way I love that. That's how I'm marrying that concept in my world, lifting from Tolkien. You could go to these other realms from us if you build the right material and you know the right angle to walk from. You could take the paths to these other realms. Yeah. Black Cloud Cinephile says the lights in the sky are portals and the watching eyes of the watchers. There you go. So what are you painting? What are you painting?
Right now I'm doing like the backgrounds to these logos. Like they want to do shades of blue with the logos. So within each, you know how you see how it's like segmented?
Yeah.
Each segment is going to be like different shades of textured blue because that's what they want. But then also within that strip, will be like a portion of a logo. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So so because
What do you draw it out first? Like, do you have like a small little thing that you drew out and then you're using that as a map?
yeah.
And just out of
Yeah,
curiosity,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
It's like that. You know what I mean? So you can kind of see how
okay,
I'm going to be doing the logos, where it's like the
that's cool.
logos are kind of cut off. They're like the logos become abstract shapes,
Cool.
right? So like if like this square is a little dark, so the logo, I'll put the logo on there as like a lighter blue, and
Yes,
then
yes, yeah.
this lighter square, I'll put the logo on it as like a darker blue, so it's like contrasting and popping. But it's all like shades of their Pantone color that they have. It's all like corporate. But
Are your kids artistic?
my oldest one, actually two of them. My oldest one is very artistic, and my oldest one that's here, the toddler, she's very artistic as well.
I saw somebody on Twitter said something and it really disturbed me. He said all kids are artistic until they got discouraged.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
I don't really. She was over here like this
that's
is
cute.
5 with watercolors.
That's cute.
So this is her with her cat, and there's like a squirrel in the tree and stuff. I was like, yeah,
That's
pretty
cute.
awesome. Yeah.
Because that's me. I used to draw all the time until basically you get discouraged. I discouraged myself. It's not like my parents or anybody told me to stop. But I do think that every kid likes to draw, every kid likes to paint, they glue in shit together. And then
Yeah.
somewhere along the line, the world discourages them. Not necessarily parents or teachers. Like I said, in my case, I discouraged myself. Yeah, St. Patrick says a little discouragement is a test. Yeah. Had I had more internal fortitude as a child, I wouldn't have been fat, and I would have stayed an artist. You know,
I
maybe it's
remember my grandma would like looking at my Iron Man drawing and her being like, that doesn't look very good. And I was like, okay, noted.
they say, Grandma, your wrinkles don't look too good.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
Patrick, you want to come on, Patty?
I do agree, a little discouraged, but like discouragement for the sake of like just being a jerk, or like encouragement or critique is fine.
Yeah. I mean, definitely not just like, if your kid's drawing, you don't walk over and be like, looks like shit. What is that, a turd? Oh, it's a fucking fire truck? Yeah, it looks dumb. You don't say shit like that. I
I
mean,
remember there was this one kid, Paul. This
which
guy,
would be funny as fuck, though.
this kid Paul, whatever he could look at, he could copy like he was a human copying machine. It was really amazing. And I remember
Hmm.
he spent like a week. The Rolling Stones album "Tattoo You" came out. If anybody's familiar with that, it's just like an Asian guy covered with tattoos, and
Yeah.
every lunchtime he would draw this. Anytime we had a free time, and it was immaculate. It looked like he put it in a photocopier. It was really, really, and everybody was raving about it. And he was a little weird kid too, but you couldn't deny how cool it was. And I remember this guy Marlon came over and just smashed it and ripped it.
Jeez.
We all just yelled at Marlon, and I didn't realize it, but Marlon had a whole folder full of artwork, and nobody ever raved. This was just a perfect example if he got jealous. You know, oh man, Paul was crying. I felt bad for him. He was a little weird kid to begin with. He did not need Marlon smashing his art. I,
But
I, I don't know if your wife knows
there
this.
was a kid. There was a kid in high school who presented some artwork in art class, and he had fucking swiped the McFarlane year 2 Batman drawings. Like he had taken one of the covers and had like redrawn it, and I recognized it. I was like, what the fuck? And the teacher was like, well, it looks really good. And I was like, what kind of fucking, how are you rewarding this guy for just
Well,
like redrawing a cover?
well,
And like,
Paul wasn't passing this off as his own artwork. We all
yeah,
knew.
this person was, and it was like, um, Excuse me, teacher. That's fucking tracing.
But still, when you're in fifth and sixth grade, even if you could trace it, look, but whatever. But yeah, there's a different. Like Paul Lee was just copying, and we all knew he was copying. We saw him with the album cover in his hand.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't. But I
This
just
was some shenanigans. This was some high school shenanigans shit.
I remember one kid. We had to do a book report, and he got his mother to draw Jesus holding a lamb. So just picture like Jesus holding a lamb as if it was a baby over the shoulder, like he was going to burp it. And
Yeah.
his mother drew it for him, and he passed it off on his own art.
And I remember
everybody was telling the teacher, he didn't draw that. He didn't draw that. The teacher was raving about it and showing everybody, and he's just sat there beaming. That's what you're talking about. Just don't pass it off as your own.
Yeah.
Is that what Gary Martin? All I know about Gary Martin is he blocked me on Twitter, and I don't even recall ever interacting with him. So I can't answer your question, Praetor. He's asking
Gary Martin, Mr. Fucking, this dude just like the shit that I've seen on his own, it was just like he was tracing a photo that everybody had. Like he goes on, it's like Google's Ripley, aliens Ripley or alien Ripley, pulls up a photo and then just like inks the photo. It's like,
oh really?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Isn't that what Terry
like, that's not very fucking.
Terry Bradstreet would do that, right? He would do all those Punisher albums.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, this is awesome. But then you realize this was like the early days of putting a filter on a photograph.
Well, I think to be fair, and I mean, Bradstreet was actually getting people to pose for his shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like he had a guy that was like showing up and they were taking photos. Like same thing with like Alex Ross. Like Alex Ross has like a whole bunch of actors. You know what I mean? Like he gets models and like he has like this like for Kingdom Come, he used the same Superman model, you know, for the whole book.
Yeah. Did Bradstreet, so he hired an actor to act like the Punisher. Did he just take a photograph and put filters on it, or did he paint from the modeled photograph?
I think he he drew from over the model. Okay. Like he had the photo and then like did a draw over.
If he did the photographs from, that's fine. I thought he just like found an actor or something like that and put a filter over it.
No, then, he like found an actor and kind of worked it. That was like the first person ever, not first person, but the first like public person to do like a draw over, like taking a photo and a kind of.
I mean, that's no different than Dave McKean building like a little shelf and putting items on it, and taking pictures of it, and then putting a painting of a character in the middle of the shelf. He used to do that for like Sandman, the first 6 or 7 Sandman issues. Mixed, what do they call that? Mixed media. That's fine. It's as long as it's all his. I don't care. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, there's some. I have some like a box of cars upstairs. Like I have like a little Volkswagen bus and like cars that I would like. Yeah, I'd take photos of.
Yeah, that's reference.
But I don't know. I was always like talking like you got to learn how to like draw it. But it's like two hands. Like on one hand, you have like Wally Wood, who was like, if you can't draw it, trace it. If you can't trace it, paste it. And then the other side of it was, you should be able to draw anything that the story requires up to a certain point. You know what I mean? Like you should be proficient enough to draw a car.
They're talking about hitting their deadlines and everything like that too. To sell a product to 12-year-olds. That's what Wally Wood was talking about.
That dude was doing like 3-4 pages a day. You know what I mean? It was like,
the whole my 3D assets argument, it just falls by the wayside. It just tells me that you don't understand the history of comics. They were doing it from day where Jack Kirby was using 3D assets. If you want to count those photographs of space and stuff like that, it's been there since day one. It's how you use it.
Dude, what
And
about all the photos and stuff that like Steranko used? Remember
yeah,
that? Like he
yeah,
used all
yeah,
kinds
the
of
pop
like
art stuff. Yeah,
multimedia.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, just there's some stuff like though. There's like a line. I don't know. Like
Yes,
you
yes.
can't draw a fucking couch. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, that's what I
come
was gonna
on.
say. How do you use it? Like, how do you
Like
how does
if you like save it for your spaceship. Like if you're using a spaceship, like have somebody make your spaceship in 3D so that you could have it, and then you could maybe use that. Because I know they did that with Doctor Strange's house. I think somebody like made that in SketchUp and like was using that
it's funny
in
that you
at
said that.
Marvel.
Tonic Mole, a lot of stuff happens in that comic Eddie is doing in his basement. So Tonic Mole showed me he did a 3D SketchUp of Tonic Mole's room. And I was like, you're not just gonna like superimpose 3D. He goes, no. This is just so I could keep it consistent every time I draw it. I could rotate this model. So like he built a 3D model of an imaginary space.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay. And the funny thing is, it's exactly how I pictured it in my head. I'm like, because it was basically based on a bedroom I had years and years ago. So it was pretty cool. But again, how do you, if you're just going to insert this house in between like two girls talking and the house looks like a dollhouse and the perspective is off, then yeah, you're using it wrong.
They're
Yeah.
doing it wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, like the castle. I think. I mean, there's some,
yeah,
but
that cast,
also like it's hard to go like hard into the paint and go fucking raging at somebody about using 3D assets and then have 3D assets in one of your books. And I'm talking about Ethan, like fucking, he's putting out a book, like a diary of Heather Swain or whatever, and like all the backgrounds look like fucking 3D assets. Like they all look like
yeah.
weird SketchUp houses.
Well, that's the least of the concerns of the art I saw in that book from what I've seen. It looks like bad Tumblr art.
And then I'm not even talking about the fucking weird ass lolly shit, where it's like, here's a teenage girl with huge tits and stuff. Like, what the fuck are you trying to sell, bro?
That kid from no, he did not do it from memory. He was literally put the album on his desk whenever he had a free time, and he would look at the album and just draw it, from like a copy machine. He would take $1 bill and put it on his desk and just not trace it, but just look at it and copy it. Like I'm sure that's the precursor to fine art skills. I don't know. I'm not an artist, but like whatever he could look at, he could copy. Like I'm sure, and he was really weird. Now I'm thinking back at it, Prador, you just made me think he was probably like autistic at some
Fucking
level.
autistic, yeah. He was just like perfect. That was his like autism was like
Like he got
perfectly
banned.
copying shit.
Matt, you remember putting a quarter on and playing asteroids, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
yeah, so he would put his quarter down and play asteroids literally until the guy kicked him out. He goes, dude, you've been playing for 2 hours and all I made was a quarter. And we
Oh
would all be
wow.
standing around cheering him on. Paul, yeah. The guy's like, I got 60 kids in my store and none of them are buying anything. Nobody wants to come in the store because there's a crowd and I made a quarter. So he would get banned and then we'd find another place and he would play Pac-Man until he solved Pac-Man. And then that guy would kick him out. You've been in here for 4 hours and all I made was a quarter. But we didn't understand. We thought, like, wouldn't you want Paul to be here? He's the best at Pac-Man. No, he wants the worst
Hell
at
no.
Pac-Man. Yeah, he wants the guy who puts a quarter in, loses, and the next guy puts a quarter in and loses. You know what I mean? We didn't think like that as kids. Like, how can they kick you out? It's not fair, Paul. He's like, I know. But that's the way he could
I had an
play
awesome comic book shop in Queens, and it was run by an Asian lady. Like they sold cell phones. It was like cell phones, beepers, comic books, and then she had Tekken 3. Right? So it was like buy comics, get some change, turn around, throw your change into fucking Tekken. It was smart, dude.
I mean, there was an arcade, there was a pool hall, and the whole first third of it was just video games. and then the rest of it was a pool hall. So it was like kind of shady. Like you
Mhm.
lied, Mom, I'm going to Matt Barr's house. Okay. And then we would all just go down to this shady arcade and, play like, what's the name of the game? Tank Battle with the wire diagrams of the tanks, and
Yeah.
it's Star Wars where the towers would grow out, and those wire diagrams and
I
Donkey.
love that like vector art
Yeah.
style. I love
Oh
that
my
shit,
God.
dude.
And then like, we would be like 14, 15 years old. And then like the 16-year-old girls that were older than us, we would like try to flirt with them, but then they were getting hit on by the 30-year-old freaks who were playing pool all day, spending their welfare checks. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
And we were like we can't compete with them. They're so much older. Meanwhile, we had no clue that these were just old creeps. We should have hit on the 16-year-old girls. We had a better chance than the welfare
Yeah,
teeth.
the fucking creepazoids.
That place is still there. I wonder if they. Oh man, I took my wife there one day. I was like, this is where I grew up, and we went in there to play pool.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice and clean, and they had food, and we're playing pool, my wife and I, and super hot waitress comes by in like a sexy outfit. Like I thought it was like a strip club. That's how like little clothes she was wearing.
Wow.
And we bought like French fries, and my wife's like, that's cool. That was a lot of fun, but we cannot go there again. I was like, yeah, I see why. Garfield's Bizarre. Will I be reading Dixon's Ellen? I'm Chuck Dixon's buddy, so of course I'll be supporting buddy. And since you brought up Chuck Dixon, this is Something Big by Chuck Dixon. It's on Amazon right now. This is the best thing he ever wrote, in my opinion.
What is it?
It's a space invasion, post-apocalyptic crime heist. So the space aliens came. Earth is it's 30 years later. Like people don't even know how to fix cars, and there's a 60-year-old guy. He's like king. He's king shit because he could work on cars and stuff like that. And he organizes a team to rob from the aliens. It's a great story. Great story. I hate to say it because comics are its own medium, but this would be a blockbuster summer movie. So good. I used to carve wood.
I mean, I saw the zombie heist movie. That was interesting.
Oh, what was that? That was Zack
Army
Snyder?
of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
I'm reading the comments for you, Matt. Let's see.
Thank you.
I used to carve wood, sculpt clay, and cast ceramics. Oh, that's cool. These are all great talents, man. I wish I had some of that. I got a cool crowdfunded book from Howard Chaykin in the past week or two called Fargo. It's a traditional Western. Wow, I didn't hear about it. You all right? You fall down?
Yeah, I almost I caught myself with my cat-like reflexes.
Oh, it says that the next volume will be drawn by Butch Geist. So I hope it's drawn already because it's hard to get him to draw these days. I trace too, Lord Nemesis says, yeah. I used to trace so much. I used to put tracing paper over my comic books and draw.
Yeah.
Matt, you must have done that as a kid too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's how a lot of people learn.
Avengers 57, the first appearance of the Vision by Buscema. He's just standing. You could feel the lines of my pencil on that cover. It's like one of the best covers of all time. It's like a key comic, and I ruined it by tracing over and over. Oh, good. I wanted to be a comic book artist at one point in my life. And when I look at Alex Ross's 12-year-old drawings, they weren't that much better than mine. Like,
yeah, he just stuck with it.
Yeah, that's literally it. He stuck with it.
Also, I think his mom was an artist as well. Like his mom was like a fashion illustrator. Like she did illustrations in fashion magazines and shit. So, I mean, there was probably just like supplies everywhere,
Jolly says, John, I heard you talking earlier about underground Manhattan lore and creatures. What are some of the main creature monster stories? The real world is scarier than the monster stories. In Manhattan, I'm an electrician, for those of you who don't know. So there's tunnels under Manhattan. The main reason why there's tunnels is subways. Okay, makes sense. Then in the 30s, they after a snowstorm, the electrical power wires got knocked down and people were getting electrocuted left and right. I think it was like the 34 blizzard or something like that. So they said all electrical wires have to be underground. So that created a lot of work for electricians. So now there's electrical tunnels, there's the subway tunnels, but the really, really cool tunnel is the water system. They're called sandhogs, and these guys are as below Manhattan as the Freedom Tower is above Manhattan, and they've been drilling for 25 years, like a huge, like I'm not even joking, like a big supervillain machine just drills, and it goes all the way upstate and brings water to Manhattan, and they're constantly expanding it. They're making a second one because it by the time they're finished connecting it, it's like an 80-year project, and then they got to start over again. But those guys need light, and those guys need electricity. So we go down there every once in a while, and it's just, we're below the sewers. So every once in a while, there'll be like just poop dripping from above. You know what I mean? It's really. And here's the thing so I'm not even joking. Sometimes there's literal rivers of poop and sewage. Like you always see in the comic books, Batman's in the sewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batman would be wearing a scuba gear if he was really, because it's not just clean water. It's poop.
It's funky.
We call them rainbow trouts. Rainbow trouts are condoms floating in the water. Hey, look, a rainbow trout. We
call them corn-eyed rainbow trout. Corn-eyed brown trout.
If you were to go into those sewage rivers, like Wolverine had a healing factor, he gets a pass. But Batman or any of you goes in the subways, you got hepatitis. If do you know the Gowanus Canal in Brooklyn? It's funky. It's the most polluted water system out in the States. I'm sure India is worse. But the cops were chasing some guy, and the guy jumped into the canal and swam away. And they're like, you're gonna let him go? And the cop said, that guy's dead. He's got about 6 months left to live. Once you get into that water, that's how polluted it is. So yeah. But in the subways, the worst thing besides the sewer is the homeless. The homeless live down there in these tunnels. They never get cold, they never get hot, and they don't get rained on, they don't get snow. So there's communities of homeless people down there. And there was a Punisher comic that's not far from the truth, where the Punisher goes down there to pursue somebody, and he finds like a colony down there, and there's kids that are born, raised, and die down there that have never seen the daylight. There's no birth certificates of them, and of course there's traffickers who buy these people and stuff. So the Punisher
like lower than the Morlocks, dude.
So we're down there. We got to bring power tools. We got to bring drills and things like that. We put them in these big metal boxes. They're called gang boxes, and if you come back the next day, they're going to be covered with poop. They're going to be pissed all over. So the foreman goes around and gives money to all the homeless people. Hey, you guys are on the job now. Here you go. Protect our stuff. And it's just a payoff. It's just the homeless mafia. We pay them off. They don't poop on our stuff. Because
that's cool.
Hey, John, open up the box. It's like, I ain't touching this. And then the foreman, you don't want to open it either. So it's the homeless shakedown.
Remember that TV show Beauty and the Beast, where they had fucking people living like Renaissance down there?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, me either.
You do see rats, you see raccoons, you see possums, and that's pretty scary when you think you're by yourself. You're like, the freaking possum. Yeah. I had Avengers 57, sold it at the flea market for $50. Oh man, yeah, not mine. Mine's got indentations for my pencil all over it. Subways do make good sandwiches. You don't want to eat the sandwiches that I'm finding down there. That's another thing. The foreman will bring down like a bag of sandwiches. Here you go, because a lot of them would rather have food than money, because they don't want to venture into the sunlight. It's Hellboy was the beast. Yeah. What's his name? Ron Perlman. That's the inspiration for that movie Chuds. If you ever seen Chuds, cannibalistic humanoid underdwellers.
The first one was good. The second one was stupid.
If you ever get the DVD, I got it from Netflix back when Netflix had DVDs. You got to watch the DVD of Chuds with the commentary on. It is the funniest movie I've ever seen. the actor,
is that where they got do you realize that half of the cast ended up being at Home Alone?
Yeah, yeah. It was Paul Reiser and then one of the guys from Home Alone, and I forget the director, but they were just laughing, making fun of things, and because they were pretty pissed at the changes that the studio had to put in the movie. Uh, so there you go. I just ran out of topics to talk about.
That's cool. I think I might. I think I may let this stuff dry and come back in a few minutes. It's fucking hot as fuck.
I was just watching a video of Bruce Springsteen fumbling and falling around and rolling around on stage, making me laugh. right after talking shit about America, old guy can't even get up after he falls down.
Jeez, that's rough. All right, well, what do we be going? An hour?
Yeah, hour and 10 minutes.
I missed a bit. I know. I'm gonna let this dry and come back. This is layer one. Layer one of I don't know, as many as I can get it in by Monday. So maybe 2 or 3 layers tomorrow, maybe
I want
another
to see
layer
you
on
fold
Monday.
it up and put it in the box again. That stresses me out. That's like, oh my God, Matt's gonna ruin it.
Yeah, I gotta let it sit and dry. I gotta let it sit and dry for a second out in the sun. I gotta sit out in the sun for a second. I hear some people yelling. Can you hear the small people yelling?
No, but every once in a while your wife was peeking through the door. I was like, Matt, she's you live. Let her know.
Oh, really? You can see my wife peeking through?
Yeah, that door that says welcome. Like the
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's your wife, unless you got another woman back there. Good for you if you do.
No comment. Yeah, I think it's I mean, I have my mother-in-law as well. My mother-in-law is here.
So I'm eating my leftover White Castle.
What color hair did she have?
I think brown. Look brown. I'm eating my leftover White Castles, and I was thinking of you this morning. That
Oh my God, I am so hungry right now. I would love some White Castle.
you said the one in right by the bridge on Queens Boulevard, right?
Yep.
There's like a whole bunch of fast food places right there. There's just like a whole strip, and it's right by the elevated train. That is the best White Castle.
46 Bliss.
It is the best. Oh my God, it is. I don't know what they do there, but I was working on the George Washington Bridge, so I would take the bridge, the 59th Street Bridge, because it was free. I didn't want to pay tolls every day, and then get on the LIE and go home. And sometimes I would just, instead of making a left turn to get on the LIE, I'd make a right into that White Castle, and I would just eat the whole way home. Just take another burger, take another. But one day I had to go in there because I didn't want to go through the drive. I had to go in there just to tell them that this is the best White Castle in the world. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. I said, believe me, I know my White Castles. I live out in Suffolk. There's a White Castle like 3 blocks away from my house. It's good, but I don't know what you do. I said, do you clean everything? And the woman's like, yeah, God, yes, we clean everything. I'm like, what do you do? Do you buy better products? She goes, no, I don't know but it is legit the best White Castle. It's funny that you mentioned it. Out of all the White Castle,
you're making me hungry.
Yeah,
you're making me hungry. I'm gonna go get some to eat.
Yeah, what are you gonna get? You gonna cook
something? I don't know. Probably not White Castle, unfortunately, but
yeah, something. You don't have White Castle by you, right?
No. We got Crystal.
I never had Crystal. Is it good?
It's okay.
It's comparable to White Castle, but is it as good as White Castle?
It's just no.
No.
All right, guys, thanks for watching.
I'd see you.
John, thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah. I'm just putting off doing actual work.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna go lay down for a second. I've been up early.
Yeah. I got up early to get on Wes's Thinking Critical, and then I started writing scripts, ate a White Castle, took a nap, and now I'm avoiding finishing the script that I started. Yeah, we got to make a movie called Matt and John Go to White Castle. There you go.
Well, when we have that game night, we just have to have it, sponsored by White Castle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
Guys, you guys got to make it happen. The stretch goal is when I get to 100,000 on Heroic Tales. I'm flying Renzo. I'm flying all my like you would have to make up the Soaring Eagle, and you're gonna play the Soaring Eagle. I get White Castle. Everybody brings a sleeping bag. We just crash as is, and we live stream us eating White Castles, playing role playing games for a weekend. $100,000.
walk in.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like it'll be like the Godfather. Mattresses in the room. Mattresses in the room.
Matches at home. Hey, let me show you how you make a spaghetti for 40 men. Hey. All right, guys. What is this? All right. Have a good day.
See ya. Bye bye.